Hello everyone, this is Abigail Brella with Sparkle and Shine Guidance. I wanted to come on here and talk about this total lunar eclipse. It's 16 degrees of Taurus. So one thing that's really helpful, if you've been following my work for a while, you probably know that I have the planetary planner. And so it's really helpful if you have, your planetary planner, you can look back on these eclipse times and what you were journaling about. So the pre-sale for 2023 Planetary Planner is up right now. And so if that's something that interests you, to be able to track these eclipse cycles, these new and full moons, I just went back and looked at, I just went back and looked at the new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, which I should be able to tell you when it was. And why that's helpful is that I can see that this eclipse, lunar eclipse, is a harvest time and a release time from that new moon solar eclipse back in on April 30th. So if you wanted to get more of kind of like personalized with what probably is going to be coming up for you again, but in a different way, look back to April 30th time period and you'll see some of the things like I can see so clearly what I was working on then and where I am now and like how far I've come, how much I've grown, and yet some maybe still work to do there, some things to still process there. So look back to April 30th through, mid-May, and you'll kind of see what is coming to culmination now, okay? So one of the main things about this lunar eclipse is that not only is it happening at a time where we have a lot of energy in Scorpio Taurus, but it's also happening as a culmination point to Saturn, which, because it's retrograde, it is at its midpoint of Aquarius. And so, I don't know about y'all, but because I have so much Leo, so anybody that has fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, tend to have a harder time when Saturn is in a fixed sign, right? And so the same thing is true as whatever, if you have a lot of planets in a certain mutability or fixed or cardinal, when Saturn is transiting that, it's going to be making a relationship to that. So I don't know about all of you, but it's been a challenging journey having Saturn in Aquarius. It started challenging. Worldwide, it was challenging. It came into Aquarius right at the beginning of, at the beginning of the things that were closing down. And it will be in there until 2023. So we are kind of in this midway point of Saturn in Aquarius and really understanding what Saturn in Aquarius has been doing for you personally. And then socially, we see so many changes, so many things happening with social media. Just recently, there were things happening with Instagram where people were having trouble. And it's going to be highlighted more. And I think that this eclipse is going to highlight more of that. And then it's going to continue until Saturn moves out of Aquarius. So why I'm talking about this is because this total lunar eclipse, which is a full moon eclipse, squares Saturn. And when we have a T-square in the chart, let alone if it's just like a full moon, it's a super active, super important time to be cautious with our words, with our actions. It's very energized. It's very challenging. So since we had the first quarter moon yesterday, so depending on when you're listening to this, the date today is November 2nd. So yesterday we had our first quarter moon in Aquarius, and Saturn was there. So we got to see a glimpse of what is asking for our attention, what is asking for our compassion, what is asking for us to really look at it, because these themes are going to build in this next week until November 8th. But even a little bit after that, November 8th is when we have this total lunar eclipse. This is why it's so nice to have this planetary planner, because then you can see and journal along with. So I have both the paper planner for 2023, and then soon I will have the electronic version, whatever that's called, the Yeah, electronic version. Hi. So if you're just joining, we're talking about the lunar eclipse. It's at 16 degrees of Taurus Scorpio that acts as that polarity, but then it also highlights midway through Aquarius. And because it's a T-square, and because it has to do with Uranus and Saturn, Mercury and Venus. So we have Mercury and Venus conjunct the sun. And then which is like processing our value, our worth, our worthiness, our money stuff. And then also Taurus, Uranus, like shaking things up, our relationships to the earth. Will we be nourished? Will we have enough food? Will we have enough resources? Those things. And then we also have, so Uranus conjunct the moon, and then Saturn in Aquarius. And because it's a T-square, we always want to look to that invisible leg in astrology, which would be pointing to the other fixed sign that is not highlighted, that doesn't have any planets in it right now, which is Leo. So you want to lean into Leo at this time. So yes, we know Leo to be big energy, but really what Leo is about play. It's about our inner child work. It's about our inherent value and confidence as a child of the sun. And so if you're kind of in this place where you're questioning your worth, or you're having issues around value and that kind of thing, we really want to lean into our play. Like, what makes you feel carefree? What makes you feel happy? What makes you feel at ease? And these things are, a lot of the time, they're free. They're taking the time to enjoy and relax and have leisure in your life. It's taking a walk with the leaves falling. It's playing, a game with your kids or with other people. It's like really tapping into that Leonian play and that ability to be carefree and to, I don't want to say like take risks, because this is not a time for risky behavior, but I guess the thing is like taking a risk on trusting what you need, taking a risk on trusting that you'll be okay, taking a risk on trusting your inherent value and your inherent worth, and that the world and the earth and the stars and the sky and the whatever you believe in are all conspiring to give to you. And it really requires us to come into that inner childlike play to be able to receive. And if you are someone who has dealt with a lot of disappointments in recently, or not so recently, but especially recently, it becomes ultra important to do that inner work around clearing that out. And yes, being with that part of yourself that experienced disappointments, but then moving on. And it's so important because, like I said, this is a mirroring point from April to May. And if some of you remember, like I know I journaled during that time, because in my planetary planner, I journaled with the lunar eclipses. And even though like things, of course, like challenges are there, I was in a much more of an ease place at that time. And so I want to get back into that energy, right? And so the way to do that is through play. The way to do that is through ease. The way to do that is through leisure. It's not going to be through struggle and working harder, right? And so this is the Leo energy, is tapping back into pleasure, tapping back into play, tapping back into your inherent worth as a child of the sun. So as we're moving forward now from today on, this energy is going to be amping and building. And it definitely isn't an eclipse that is just on the personal. This is an eclipse that is really going to show up in the collective. There's going to be sudden shifts and changes. There might be earthquakes and volcanoes. There might be severe weather. There might be economic appearance of fallout or crashing, stock market stuff. This is all just the energy, right? But it doesn't mean, obviously if something is happening right in your immediate vicinity, yes, you're going to have to deal. But if it's not, it's more important than ever to really stay in your own lane and really stay with what's going to help you stay grounded in the reality right around you, in your community right around you, and your family, and what you need to be present for in your immediate vicinity. Because there will be a lot of energetics happening. It is election day, of course. And so, if that's something that you pay attention to, I'm sure there's going to be some interesting things happening. We know that the South Node in Scorpio, if you want to watch my whole video on the North Node in Taurus and the South Node in Scorpio, it's super informative and goes into more detail about this 18-month cycle that we're in. But when we are shedding off through the South Node in Scorpio, it's a lot of hidden secrets, things that are like done behind closed doors, energy that is shedding off and clearing out. And sometimes that means exposure. Sometimes that means things coming into the light. And because Taurus is so much about the magnetic poles of the earth, it's so much about literally magnetism and the earth's energies. It means that it's more important than ever that you get in alignment with what it means to be healthy for you and to let just whatever's going to clear, but for you to be in full autonomy and full awareness of your connection to the earth, and anything that has gotten in your way in the past of connecting to the earth, anything that is still in your way in connecting to the earth. And because it's about magnetism, and because Venus is right there in Scorpio with the moon, our emotions in Scorpio, highlighting our the sun. Did I say moon? It's highlighting our value, but also what we magnetize to us. So with the sun and Venus and Mercury, we're processing how we draw things to us, how we magnetize things to us. And if we're in a perpetual state of disconnection, not enoughness, scarcity, all of these things, then we're just going to be attracting more of that to us. So it's really the time to look back to April, May, get into that energy of, because it's springtime, things were building, things were fruiting, and to really tap into that energy for yourself so that you can clear whatever needs to be cleared that's coming up for you, that's really uncomfortable, that's really agitated, that's really feeling not great. And the more that you're doing that, the more you're going to feel that playful energy coming back online. So with this lunar eclipse on November 8th at 16 degrees of Taurus, the moon's at 16 degrees of Taurus, the sun is at 16 degrees of Scorpio, and then we have this relationship between the T-square with Saturn, and then we also have Ceres in 16 degrees of Virgo. And that's important because it's at that 16 degree mark, so it exactly trines Uranus and the moon, and it sextiles the sun, Mercury, Venus, and of course the north and south nodes are there too. So because of that, Ceres is the goddess Demeter, the goddess of abundance and loss. And it's really important for us to be in connection with both of those things right now. It can feel difficult to hold both of those things. It can feel difficult to hold like the grief and the loss, but also what you got from it and the abundance of it and the gratitude for the person, place, thing, or experience. But that is where we're at. It's so important to be in that energy of just being able to see it and feel it all. Being able to be with it all. This is the beauty of being alive right now. And, you know, I've been getting the same thing. I have my tea and it keeps giving me the same thing, which is, so I'll read it to y'all. Life may not be the party we hoped for, but while we're here, we should still dance. And so that is the energy of this lunar eclipse. It's very much about that. Like, life may not have gone how you wanted it to go. It may not still be going the way you want it to go, but we should still enjoy it. We should still dance. We should still be present for it. And this is about really seeing all of it and how it's perfectly designed and it's perfectly aligned for you to reap the lessons, reap the benefits, and sow the seeds that you need to sow to come into your mission in this lifetime, your mission-driven life. Back at these eclipses in April, May, I was teaching crown codes and it felt so divinely aligned to be teaching that. And this is so much about what this energy is about. It's like, just get back into your mission, why you came here, what you came here for. And if you want assistance in this, this is where your birth chart's going to show you all of that. And it's going to be affirming because you already know, you already have that awareness. But sometimes we question ourselves. Sometimes we question if we really know or if we're really doing exactly the right thing within that context. And our birth chart can be such a helper in that. So if you want to work together, this is a great time. I have 3-month coaching available. And when you do that with me, you also get access to any of my 2 courses. And so one of those courses that I highly recommend at this time is Crown Codes. This is especially true if you have your own business or you're really trying to get in more focus around your work in the world. So that's an option of working together. I have the 3-month coaching available. And then I just have the one-time session with me that I have a 2-hour session or a 4-hour VIP session with me to go deep dive, not only into your chart, but into the emotions, the energetics, and all of the deeper subconscious blocks that are keeping you from being in your mission-driven life. So this is the time for it. Maybe that's because this hits my midheaven. I'm really feeling like this is the time for it. But so look at where 16 degrees is in your chart. Like maybe it's hitting a very important point in your chart. 16 degrees of Taurus, Scorpio, and then Aquarius as well. And then of course, Leo. A very fixed lunar eclipse that is breaking things up. It feels very uncomfortable. Pay good attention to your body and what your body needs right now and caring for your adrenals, your physical body, and your mental space. There's a lot of agitation, and so even though it's not a great time in this next week to really push yourself super hard, it is a good time to keep moving your body and keep like sweating and clearing things, because there is a lot of buildup, and a lot of this is needing to clear out, so needing to purge. And yeah, I have so much more I want to say on this lunar eclipse, but I'm going to leave it at that for now. I'm going to post this on my profile, so if you didn't see the beginning part of it, you can go back and check it out. Leave a comment, leave a question. I'm happy to try to do my best to answer those. And if you haven't already ordered your planetary planner, the 2023 version, it's available as a pre-order. They ship next month, and so you'll have it by winter solstice of this year. And we start at the winter solstice and we go through, and it highlights each new moon, each full moon, each eclipse, so that you can journal along with these processes that are happening for you, so that you can look back and really see how far you've come, see what you were working on at that point, what's coming to fruition now for you, and where you need to clear and transmute any energy. If you didn't check out my free masterclass, Quantum Liberation, I still have that available. I'll post the link in the story. It's up until November 14th. And those playbacks are super helpful. It's very much the eclipse energy coming through that masterclass. So if you just want a little bit of really strong boost to doing the work, that's a great place to be. Okay, take good care of yourselves and happy eclipsing.